that leads. This is only a hypothetical from me. Given the opportunity, would you ever look into writing for the show itself? Would you look into maybe doing Big Finish, something like that?
Do you know what? If I'm really honest,
Mm.
writing is not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
As I said before, I love working with people. I love communicating. I'm a people person most of the time, and I think writing is a sort of, it's quite a solitary job, and I don't enjoy that part of it. And also, to be honest, writing for Big Finish or for, I think you have to know more than I do about Doctor Who in a way, because the writers who write for Big, I mean, I blooming take my hat off to them. They're incredible.
Gone on to create so many things for themselves that the show have pulled back on, you know, that they've taken from Big Finish, so they really do deserve their props. Absolutely.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so many, like, I mean, I don't, where do they come up with their ideas? I have no idea. Just as I think, surely they can't have thought of something for Ace that's different. It sure is, you know, multifaceted.
There's an awful lot of that they just draw upon all the time. You know, they'll put someone in a completely different. There's a musical Big Finish story with the Sixth Doctor, and it's incredible. You know, you just wouldn't expect something like that.
I'd love to have done that one.
Well, I guess whilst on the topic of Big Finish, you've been involved in quite a bit. You've done some audios as Ace. How have you found that experience on audio as opposed to physically playing Ace?
Well, it's funny because very soon after the show was cancelled, Sylvester and I started doing audios. We initially did them for BBV, Bill Baggs, who was kind of like a mate of ours from fandom.
Yeah.
And so we started these stories. I remember we recorded them in somebody's basement flat. And we had some people writing them. Like there was this guy who was a fan called Mark Gators. I mean, who's he? You know,
he'll never go anywhere.
And so we started doing them. We love working. Sylvester and I, we just love working. You know, we loved the people. We loved working together. We loved the characters, you know, so that was really good fun to do. Now, Bill got, he kind of shot himself in the foot a bit because he hadn't got the BBC license and he was called BBV. He was doing the Professor and Ace. Ace was actually a licensed character. The Professor, the BBC eventually found out and went, isn't this a bit like Doctor Who? And said, no, you can't do it anymore. So Jason at Big Finish, he created the company Big Finish, and he went along to the BBC and he realized that the BBC's heart wasn't really in Doctor Who at the time. And he said, well, can I have the license? They said, yep. And that's how it began. And so we did, I think we did, if not the first Big Finish audio, a very close first. And again, you know, we recorded in a studio in Fulham, which was owned by a guy, Daniel Cohen, who was a fan, you know, so everybody was fans who were professionals. We just, and we did the first one, or maybe nearly the first one. And then we went over to Brixton, started recording at the original Moat Studios. And then the Moat Studios, when Toby went to Westbourne Park, that we went over there. And it's become an empire, you know, it began as this sort of like small business. I think in those days, audio adventures weren't really on the radar so much. But then, of course, there'd been this whole legacy of Doctor Who fans recording their own fan
of course
and stuff, so it kind of carried on from there.
Absolutely. I spoke to Bill quite a while back, and you got to give him props for being one of the first to try and produce these things. You know, they're wonderful. And
Bill
then
was a complete innovator, and if it hadn't been for him, I don't know whether, well, I'm not sure whether Big Finish would have happened. You know, he really, and he the videos he did as well, the Stranger videos. I mean, he would just like pour everything into them. No, it was amazing what Bill did.